All right, so I'm outside of a 2019 Honda Accord. This is the touring model, which is only going to be coming in the 2-liter now versus the 1.5. And you'll notice its badge down here at the bottom. Some other things indicative is you'll see it's dual as far as your exhaust, and then it's going to have that larger wheel on the exterior of the car, which will let you know what it is, and you'll see the chromed door handles. Now, the first thing I want to do is start you off on the key fob. It does have remote start. To use it, I always want to press the lock button first, and then I'll press and hold the remote start button. You'll see the lights flash, and then it'll crank up for me. So now the car is on. When I hop in, I'll still have to touch the foot on the brake in the start button just to acknowledge it. But while we're at the back of the car, I want to show you the back first. So let's pop open the trunk and show you some of that stuff. So it does have a quick release that I just used. So it's smart key entry. My backup camera is right here just so you know what's going on. Now the back, you'll notice the carpeted floor mats do come standard in the car. There's not in this car yet. It does have hooks on the sides. I do have a 60-40 split back here that I can throw down. To do so, my locks are right here and right here. Now down below, I do have a spare, and it's going to be below all this. You notice your jack and your accessories. Because it is a capless fuel tank, you're going to need this in case you ever have to use a gas can. And then you have a full diameter spare down here, so it's full height, just not full width. So bigger than a donut, I will say. The only one of my cars that doesn't have it is going to be my hybrids. That's the only cars you'd have to worry about if you're looking at other models that we make. Now, moving to the second row of the vehicle, let me pop this open. Actually, the first thing I'll show you is related to the door locks. So if I have the doors locked, it's going to lock the deal for the gas. If I unlock it, it'll pop up and I can unlock it now. And then you'll see it is capless, so it does have a valve system. Now, moving into the back seat of the car. Let's unlock it all the way, I guess. All right. So, you can see this is black on black in this vehicle. So it does have a leather interior. I will point out that in the touring model, you do have heated seats on the back of the vehicle, and you see you have 3 LEDs to go low, high, medium, that kind of thing. So I do have heated seats back here. I do have AC vents. I do have a flip down fold armrest with cup holders in it, along with cup holders in the doors that'll hold like 20-ounce bottles. And it's set up for 3 different seating arrangements if I need it. So that's what's going on in the second row of the vehicle. Now, moving up to the front, I'll point out smart key entry so I can put my hand on the door handle. It'll automatically unlock for me. To lock the doors, I have these 3 ridges right here I could touch and lock the doors. So now the doors are locked. So I'm gonna put it back here. Now it is popped open again for me. So when I hop in this car, as I mentioned earlier, I use the remote start. You're gonna notice that none of the electronics are on in the car. And it's gonna ask me to put my foot on the brake and tap the start button. Now everything's gonna start coming on because it's acknowledging that the key is in the car. So just a safety feature to help prevent people from stealing your car. I had to lock the doors to remote start it, but this is just one extra thing going on with that. So over here on the door, let's show you some things. I've got my window controls, my auto up down on my driver and passenger side, my window locks, and then I've got my my door locks and then my mirror control, so left and right, and then I can adjust on the pad. Moving up on the door, you'll notice I do have my memory seating right over here, so I can press set, and then once I have it set to where I want, press and hold. Now on the back of your key, there's gonna be a number 1 or number 2, which I think it's gonna be covered by a sticker on this one, but it'll be right there. So that will correlate with the keys, the seatings on the doors, window controls, door locks, lighting setups, walkway auto lock features. So keep that in mind. The doors, the controls for not only the seat, but a lot of different things can be controlled by your keys. Now, right here is gonna be for my heads-up display, which I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you via the cameras. Yeah, actually you can see it right there. So I can move it up and down. So you can see it moving up right now. You can see it moving down. So I have some control over that, and then I can control what you see there too. So you can see it toggling through some different menus here. So whether it be a compass, what kind of RPMs I'm getting, it'll read street signs. That's ACC and LKS, lane keep assist, and adaptive cruise control. If I had my turn-by-turn directions, right now it's showing a compass, it would show my next turn. That's, as far as torque and as far as your tack. Right now where you're seeing is it would pick up using the camera up in this black box to detect road signs and tell you what the speed limit is right there. So that's what this is. Now to toggle through those, I'm using this button right here to switch through the menus. Now if I need to adjust the height of the heads-up display, I'm using this. So to scroll down, and when you get in the car, you'll be able to see, and you can move it around to figure out where exactly you want it. So that's how this works. And then, I can turn it completely off using this button. So that's just what's going on. Moving over is your tripometers. So you can see when I touch this, it's gonna toggle between some screens here, and then I can press and hold. Now I've reset trip A, press and hold, reset trip B, right? And I've got 68 miles on this car. And then adjusting the brightness. So you'll see whenever I toggle on that, it'll adjust. So I can bring it down, bring it up, all that. So that's what's going on over there from that standpoint, right? Now moving down below that, If I press this button, this is related to my Honda sensing stuff. It will pull up this menu right over here, and then you can see what I have on. Road departure mitigation is on. Blind spot monitoring system is on in the mirrors. My collision braking system is on also, and I'm toggling through with this button right here. So you can see in the background it's toggling with me, right? So that's what's going on from there to check some of my Honda sensing features, right? And then I can exit out of that screen. My parking sensors are on because the LED is letting me know. And then above, this is part of my vehicle stability assist. This works with traction control. So if I go into a skid, it'll transfer to whichever wheel on the left or right that has better traction to help correct a skid. So that's what this is. This is always on and running unless I turn it off. The same as some of these other Honda sensing features that I just pulled up. Those are always on and running unless I want to turn them off. So I have to actively go to turn them off. So that's what's going on from that. Now on the steering wheel, on the left side here is where I'm going to start us, and I'll just walk you through a couple things. The volume controls are pretty simple, up and down, right? So my volume actually isn't on because I don't have any audio on right now, so let me power that on real quick. Okay, so now we got that on, power button and volume control, but I can also control it from right here. And when you do it, you'll see it pop up here too. So this side is digital, so you can control a lot of the menus over here, and how you do so is using the home button. So if I press the home button, I'll now have all these menus I can scroll through and pick. So if you just like a classic tachometer next to a speedometer, great, you can do that. If I press the home button again, it'll pull back to that menu, and I'm just scrolling through using the little tab here, and I can pick different things. So if you want your tripometer information, if you're one of those people who wants to know how many miles do I have on this tank of gas, 223, it's right up there at the top, right? I'm gonna scroll back over, speed and time. This is just a little bit more about what you're doing in your trips that you're making. Below that, the audio that I'm listening to. So you can see I'm listening to satellite radio. It give me a digital image, let me know I'm listening to 80s on 8. That's what's going on there. If I want to scroll through my sources and jump quickly over to something else, I can do so just by pressing up or down on that knob, right? So it just gives me a quick way to tune between different setups. So I'm going to back out of that screen. I hit the menu button again. Phone, if I had Bluetooth pulled up and I was running something. Navigation, it would give me my next turn-by-turn direction. Right now it's just going to give me a compass, but if I have the turn-by-turn directions running, whether it be through the navigation system on the car, it'll tell me what the next turn is there. So it's just kind of nice to have it there available to you also. Traffic signs, so this is what I mentioned earlier where you could see it in the heads-up display, which I'll toggle back up there and see if you can see it. You can see it right there. It'll show you there. I can also just have it showing here. So if I just wanted to have a nice broad space to where I could glance down and let me know, oh, okay, it picked up a sign. I'm supposed to be going 55 on this road, in case you're in a town or an area you're not familiar with. Driver support, this is going to jump over some of that Honda sensing stuff that I mentioned. Driver attention monitor, if you're using all the Honda sensing stuff, at a point you don't necessarily have to be touching the steering wheel a whole lot or the gas or the brake because of some of the systems that I'll go over here in a second. This is going to occasionally alert you if you aren't really touching those, so that's what it is. Maintenance, so this is where I can get to my oil life. When you get down to 15%, it's going to start alerting you in the car, and it'll throw up an alert on this menu screen that you see right here. And it'll let you know an A1, an A2, or a B1 or a B2. You can look in your manual, the Quick Start Guide, or you can look online. It's there. This has been the same for years. Honda's done it. So that way, when you go into the dealership or wherever you're going, you know exactly what they're going to recommend to you or exactly what you need. So easy enough. And then down, some warning systems. So this is just going to be general stuff like if I leave a door open or something, it's going to send me an alert. That's what that is. So to get to that, I'm using the home button to get to the menu screen, and then to toggle, I'm using the toggle. So you can see it toggling in the background there, right? My back button, in case I pick the wrong one, I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to select this, backs out of it, so I can back out of stuff, right? Okay, down below that is going to be my Bluetooth control, so to answer a phone call, to hang up a phone call, voice command, so I can press this and it'll start the toggle menu over here, and then I can say navigation and pull up navigation and start going that route. If I press and hold this, it will actually give me the beep for like Siri, or I can jump over to OK Google if I'm trying to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So just something to keep in mind there if I want to use that. So I'm going to back out of the navigation screen that I was trying to pull up. So that's what's going on from this standpoint. Now moving over to the other side, you saw a minute ago the heads-up display. I was changing the display, so you can still see up there what I'm changing. I've got a compass, I've got pulling up the street signs, some different things that I'm toggling through up there using this button right here. My main button, so this is going to be for using adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. If I press this button, you'll see ACC and LKS on up there, right? So this will stay on too. If I get out of the car and turn it off and get back in, that will remain on unless I press it again to turn it off. Now let's start you with lane keep assist. Lane keep assist is using this button right here. If I press this, you're going to see some dotted lines come on up there, and it'll actually show up in the heads-up display up there too, so you can see them when I press it. It'll turn them on, so you can see now those appeared, the same lines that you're seeing right there. Now, whenever I'm driving down the road, it's going to use this camera that's up in this black box right up here. When I'm going over 45 miles an hour, so between 45 and 90 miles an hour, it's going to pick up the lines on the road. Those will fill in solid to let you know it's now actively reading the road. From that standpoint, if I start to drift to the left or the right, it'll correct for me and keep me centered in my lane. So that's what lane keep assist is. There's also something called road departure mitigation, where if you drive off the shoulder of the road, it's going to give you an audible alert and shake the wheel. So two different systems, but the same idea. Now the next one is adaptive cruise control. To use that, once I get up to a speed I want to set, I would press the set button. So now let's pretend we're at 65 miles an hour when we're moving forward. From there, I can set the, so let's say I'm set to 65 and the guy in front of me keeps slowing down to 50 and then back up to 70. Normally you'd have to turn off your cruise control and then cancel, resume, and do all that. Well, not anymore. Using the adaptive cruise control, I can set the distance it'll keep between me and that car in front of me at all times. So you can see more boxes, more space, right? So I'm going to set it maybe to the middle because the far one people will keep cutting in front of me. So from here, you'd see a car icon in front of you too. Every time that guy slows down, I don't have to cancel. It's going to keep designated spacing that I've set, and it's going to slow down. Once I get out from behind that guy or he speeds back up, it's going to take that speed back up to what I'm trying to be at. So this way, if you're taking a long road trip, that's what the function of this is. Now, let's say you're like, you know, Justin, I don't want to use that. I just want regular old cruise control. No big deal. You can do that. All you've got to do is press and hold to jump over to the old one. Actually, I think it's, yeah, so you press and hold the set. Now you can see ACC is off, and I can just use my classic cruise control. So that's how I do that. So see how I just changed modes? Press and hold. So this is what you're going to do to change it, and it says cruise mode. Now if I press and hold again, now I'm back to adaptive cruise control mode. So I'm just using this button right here to do so. So that's what's on the right side of the steering wheel. Now behind it, you'll notice I do have a plus and I do have a minus. So I do have paddle shifters that I can adjust. So it'll allow me to have a little bit more control over my car. Now on the left stock over here, you'll notice I do have auto on off headlights that I can set. And I do have fog light controls right here too. And then it's gonna be my blinkers, so left and right, right? On the right side is gonna be the controls. If I pull down, front windshield wipers. And then they are intermittent, so I can affect the speed right here. And then if I need to throw some water up on there, pull towards me, water's up on there, right? So that's how that works. Now, moving over to the screen. First thing I want to show you is the backup camera. So let's throw the car in reverse. And to do that, I want to show you what's down here. You're going to notice it's not a standard shifter. I've got buttons here. So park, it's lit up. It's telling me it's in park right there, orange P. If I throw it in reverse, I pull back like I'm backing up, it lights up green. My backup camera comes on. You'll notice it says reverse over here too. Now, while I'm over here, I want to show you a couple things. I do have a wide angle view, so you can see 170 degrees of who's coming from the left or right, so you can see the edge of the car sitting next to me. Standard backup camera. And then one aims straight down, so if I'm backing up to another car, a garage, a bush, a curb, you know, whatever it may be, I can see exactly where I'm getting. So this is aimed straight down. You can see the edge of my back bumper right here. So that's the three views, right? And same dotted lines. Cross-shaft monitoring is this button right here. So if it's lit up blue, it means it's on. So if somebody was to come from my left or right now, it'd give me an audible alert and show me arrows from whichever direction they were coming from. So that's what this is. I would recommend leaving this on. There's really no reason to turn it off. So that's how the backup camera works on this car. So I'm going to shift back over to park and now go through some stuff on the touchscreen. Now on here, you do have a home button you can jump over to, and these are buttons over here, so it makes it a little bit easier. So home button, back button to dim the screen, right? To jump, you know, to the next track, next station, that kind of thing. My volume control, and then if I press directly on it, it'll turn the power off to the audio. So, right, pretty simple to understand. Navigation is set up through Garmin. So that's what's going on from right here. While I'm not moving, I can type in addresses and search a few different ways. When I'm moving, it's going to take away the ability to type in the address. So you just know you're going to have to use voice command when you're doing that. So it's pretty simple, man. They've made this pretty much dummy proof, so anybody can do this. Go home, you can type in and set up what your addresses, or use the current location if you're at your house doing this. Categories, if I'm searching for a gas station or restaurant, I can search what's around me and just kind of check it out. So all restaurants around me, and then it'll give me a list of things and where they're at and kind of go from there. So you can see now I've got a list of stuff around me. So they've made this pretty simple to use. Attraction, if you need a rest area, you can look through this and figure it out. But if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I'd be more than happy to help you out with anything. As far as once you've been somewhere, you can save it in and rename it. So your buddy's house, you can name it instead of just having the address in there, then you have to remember it. So just different things you can do. So that's what's going on for the navigation. Connecting up a phone to Bluetooth. First time, if you've never done it, connect a phone. It pulls you up and says, connect new device, turn on your Bluetooth and rock and roll, go find it. Now, if it's going to be, I'm adding a second or third or fourth phone to the car, because I've already connected mine, now I need to connect to my wife or my kids or something like that, you're going to want to go to settings. From there, you want to go to connections, because we want to add a connection. And then Bluetooth, because that's what we're looking to connect up to. Same screen that I just got to a second ago, press that, please turn your Bluetooth on, and proceed. So that's how you are going to do that. And you'll notice it's pretty simple to work through. Text function, so once I've connected to my phone, it'll actually read text aloud to me once I've connected that phone. Since I haven't yet, it's going to prompt me to add a phone. So that's what the function of that is. FM, just going to look just like the screen I had pulled up a second ago. I will point out it does have HD stations, so it's kind of a nice extra that you have when you're playing with this. So a little bit more that you can listen to. And if I want to set a preset, just seek, go find the station you want, and then press and hold. It's pretty easy to use, right? So that's just like any other car probably on the planet right now, other than it's a touchscreen and maybe not buttons and knobs. Bluetooth audio, so this is if I want to stream something off my phone, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Spotify, Pandora, iHeartMedia Radio, whatever it may be. A lot of the same functions I'm going to have access to through my smartphone connection. This is where I would have access to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you aren't familiar with what those are, I can plug into the USB. That is right down here. So you can see it has a picture of a phone on it. Plug that into my phone, and this will light up and either say Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. If you're an Android Auto user, you are going to have to download the Android Auto app. So that's the only big difference between those two. Once you've downloaded it, this will light up. You'll be able to select it. You now will have access to the navigation off your phone, whether it be Google Maps, whether it be Waze, whether it be Apple Maps. So lots of options there. As far as music, Spotify, Pandora, anything saved to your phone, you can stream stuff. So there's a lot of different ways you can listen to music. And then there's a lot of other apps that are going to be compatible too. You can Google it and check what's compatible per whether you're an Apple user or an Android-based user. But super cool, gives you access to your own navigation. I like it for that reason because it means you don't have to pay for map updates anymore. So just something to keep in mind. Trip info, so if I want to get to that and see that some of that stuff I saw earlier, 221 miles on this tank of gas, and then my last trip, which was probably us parking it out in the parking lot. So that's what's going on from this standpoint. Settings in the car, a lot of this I won't go over, but I will point out vehicle settings down here. This is where you can get to like door locks, window locks, keyless entry setups and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind if you're playing with this stuff. Door and window. So auto door lock, this is where I can set the door locks. Right now it's set when I hit 10 miles an hour, it'll automatically lock the doors, where I could adjust that. Right below auto door lock, you're going to see walk away auto lock feature. If this is turned on, when I get outside of the car, if I walk away and I have the key in my pocket, once I hit 10 feet, it'll automatically lock the doors for me. So that's what that feature is. So just some different features you might want to play with. Door and window setup is where I was at, and that's where you'll see all these features. Excuse me. Jumping back into that main menu screen under vehicle. I mean, you can jump around and look at all this different stuff. Bluetooth connections if you need to delete, remove, add. Display setup if I want to change colors of the display. Sound if I want to mess with the equalizer. And the cameras if I want to turn guidelines on and off. So that's what is going on from here if you want to play around with this stuff. Moving the screen over, I do have 90 days of Sirius XM satellite radio. It's set up just like what you saw with FM and AM. So pretty easy. Once I find a station that I like, press and hold. Now it's set. So now I got New Kids on the Block. Yes, kid of the 90s right here. Now moving over, USBs. I can plug into the USBs, and you know, if I have a bunch of music stored to it, so I can plug into right there and have a bunch of music that I can play off of it. And I've got 2 USBs. So you saw one, and the other is down here in the center console. And you'll notice there's a power outlet down there also, just like there is up here. AT&T Hotspot, you get 3 months for free when you buy the car, and then afterwards you can continue it. I want to say it's like $8.99 a month if you want to do that. So that way, if you want to have the kids and everybody having their tablets out and go that route, you absolutely can. So you can see it's trying to pull up and to power it on. I would just press there to turn it on. So that's how it works. Outside of that, if I want to adjust the clock, I can do it from right here, and I can also set up a screensaver back there if I want. So if you want to picture your kids, your dogs, whatever it may be. And then NFC Manager, that's set up to where if you turn that on your phone, you'll notice there's an NFC marking right here. I can literally tap my phone to that and it'll Bluetooth connect up to it. So it's just a really easy way to connect up to your phone. So that's what that is. Now, let's say you're like, well, these are all in a weird order and I don't really want these. I don't use a couple of these apps. No big deal. Press and hold. And it'll pull up the screen where you can start adjusting stuff and moving stuff around. So maybe you use satellite radio a whole lot. Yeah, well, let me move that over to be my first one. And then I use a lot of Bluetooth. And then I use, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So I can move some stuff around. So you can see I'm moving stuff around here. And then when I'm done, I just press done. So you can customize this and set it up how you prefer. So just know that you have that option available to you. Moving down, you do have a dual control as far as your AC setup. So you can control left and right separate of each other. If they're synced, they'll run off of just this one. If I unsync them, which I just did, 67, 63. If I sync them, now they're going to work off of this side. They're both going to stay the same. And then fan speed is in the middle, right? My defrost, as far as my front window, back window, and the mirrors is what's going on there. down below, you saw the shifter and how that works. Econ mode will improve gas mileage of the car. It affects the shifting points. It's going to lengthen them out. So you're not going to have as much get up and go, but you are going to get improved gas mileage. Sport mode is going to do the opposite. It's going to affect the dampering in the car. It's going to raise the RPMs. You're going to get a little bit more get up and go, but you're going to give up that gas mileage. So these are essentially opposites of each other. Parking brake is electronic. Put my foot on the brake, lift up. You can see the red light is on. It's set. And you'll see brake right there. It is set. To release it, put my foot on the brake, press down. Now it is released. Brake hold. If I'm in stop and go traffic, if I have this button on, you'll see brake hold. I got to have my seatbelt on to use it, but if I press it, it'll light up and say brake hold. Every time I come to a complete stop, it will hold the brake for me to where I can release my foot off the brake. So if I'm in stop and go traffic, that's where this is great. But keep in mind, you do have to have your seatbelt on. So if you're in like a drive-through trying to use this, if you take your seatbelt off, it's going to immediately throw the car into park or put the emergency brake on, because it's not going to just switch off and let you roll into something. So just keep that in mind. Outside of that, center console. Big center console here as far as your armrest, and then I've got a sliding shelf here, and you can see some spacing down under it. You know what I mean? So that's what's going on from this standpoint. Outside of that, I do have home link, so I can control garage clicker, gate clicker, that sort of stuff here. I can throw open my sunroof if I want to do that. I'm going to send it back forward, and then if I want to crack it, just press directly up on it, and when I do, now it's cracked. And then to close that, closed. This other switch right here, if it's on, anytime I open the doors, these lights will come on. If it's off, whenever I open the doors, these lights will not come on. Honda Link, if I need to get in touch with them, and then my assistant as far as if I need help, you know what I mean? So know that you have 3 years, 36,000 miles of roadside assistance. When you're in a touring model, keep in mind, you can go to HondaLink.com. This car is actually going to come with some cool features. Some of them are subscription-based, but I think they're going to give them to you for a year. So you're going to have like the ability to lock and unlock the car from your phone, and I believe you also have the ability to start the car from your phone. And if you want to continue those, you can look into it. But you can see on HondaLink.com, you can look up any Honda, any trim level, and see what's offered for that vehicle. So I recommend, if not only for the tools to be able to play with, but also because it'll give you maintenance reminders, recall notices, so you can set up an account with them and download the app. So that's what's going on from that standpoint. This is a touring model. It does have 6 airbags in the car, so 2 front dual-moded airbags designed different speeds depending on what kind of accident you get in. You do have 2 side airbags that will come out of the A-pillars that are full curtain. They do have sensors, so if you go in a roll, it's designed to open ahead of time. So 2 front, 2 side, and 2 sides out the sides of your seats to help protect you if you get hit from the side, you get T-boned, that kind of thing. Outside of that, you do have Honda Link. It is set up to where if you get an accident, your airbags deploy, it can automatically call 911 for you. So just some additional safety features not everybody always goes over. That is 100% free, and that runs the lifetime of the vehicle. So keep that in mind. Every single Honda on my lot is going to have that. It comes with the cars, so just know that. So just another safety feature you might not know a lot about because they don't promote it a lot. This is the touring model. This is my black on black, so you can see black interior. Yes, it does have like a wood grain finish, which is a dark brown. All my cars are going to have this dash layout, so just be aware of that. It just won't be a touchscreen if you're in my very basic model. Outside of that, this is the touring model, just so you can get a good glance of it in the leather bowstring and everything. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can always comment on the video. You can always call me at 512-443-4300, or you can email me at the letter J, and then Fuller, my last name, Fuller, at howdyhonda.com. Thank you much.